Hello, I'm Katie Cowan, and this is the Creative Boom podcast, full of fun and honest conversations with creatives to inspire. For episode 36, our guest is Harrison Wheeler, a UX design manager at LinkedIn who is based in the Silicon Valley with roots in the Midwest. For the last 15 years, his diverse design experience has taken him from working as an entrepreneur and later scaling a startup to working at one of the largest social media platforms in the world. Harrison is also the person behind Technically Speaking, a podcast that explores the ins and outs of user experience design. Here, you'll enjoy a fascinating insight into Harrison's career so far, the differences between freelancing or working at a startup compared to being part of the team at LinkedIn. We look at how social media has changed over the last decade too, because naturally, it's a very interesting topic right now with everything that's happening in the world. We also consider where it's heading next. We chat about the events of 2020, because it cannot be avoided, how it's changed how we work, transformed our perspective, and why there's much hope for the future. There's also a story about how an Apple Watch saved Harrison's life, something that reveals his true strength and resolve. Before we listen to Harrison, may I thank our sponsors, Shillington, who without them this podcast would not be possible. The original Graphic Design Bootcamp has helped students achieve award-winning portfolios and land incredible jobs in as little as 3 months. More on this later. Hi Harrison, thanks so much for joining me on this podcast.
Hey, it's my pleasure. It's an honor to be on the Creative Boom podcast.
Oh, come on, because you run your own podcast as well, and you know, I don't think I'll be invited on that because I'm not a UX designer.
No, I'm really excited about this, right? Because I'm a firm believer that design transcends discipline. So we need to break out of our categories, and Absolutely. I'm sure we'll have a lot that we'll learn from each other, but we'll also have like a ton of just like commonalities and stories to share. So.
Absolutely. And you're being very super cool Silicon Valley right now with your standing desk. So you're just like, chilled, moving back and forth.
There's a difference like in terms of just like the energy you have and your blood flowing just by standing up. And it's really funny because I've been editing my podcast for the next season, just like you are. And I'm sure you notice this as well. Depending on the time of day, I have like my voice sounds different and I have different energy and my sound goes totally different. So with you with me standing up right now, this is new. So you're the first person that I've ever recorded standing up. So I'm going to compare this to the rest of my appearances and see if there's a difference in energy.
Well, you know what's interesting? When I used to, back in the day, 2000 to 2005, I used to work in radio. I was a broadcast journalist in radio, and they always taught you to sit up straight. So you had that kind of space in your chest and your diaphragm. Yeah. And you would do that if you were particularly presenting a serious story. So from you standing up, that's the best way to be. But
or you can't see this, but what if I like sit like this the whole time?
Oh, you're doing the power pose. That is the power pose. My friend Chris, he lives in Sydney now. He used to do the most amazing talks, and he said to me, Katie, if you ever do a talk, all you have to do is this one simple power pose. Because what it does is it makes everybody look at you and think, my God, she really knows what she's talking about. And all it is, for the benefit of the listeners, it's about putting your hands together, putting all your fingers together and doing this kind of, I know what I mean, and I'm super important. It works, doesn't it?
I feel like it's now the quintessential thought leader pose.
Oh yes, which is what you kind of are now, aren't you? 15 years experience under your belt.
Gosh.
Working for LinkedIn as the UX design manager, managing a big team at one of the world's biggest social networks. I mean, gosh.
Yeah. It's just you just develop a lot of wisdom over time, right? I think that's all that is.
So you're humble as well. This is,
Yeah. Look, here's my thing. I feel like as a manager, it's definitely more of sort of a service role, right? And my whole thing is to empower my team and get them to be their best selves. And a lot of times that means taking yourself out of the equation.
Yes.
And I just, I think for me, just to kind of see my team be able to grow and also see the influence of design, like distributed across the team that works on a larger product. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. So I'm a very like patient person. I think we in our exchange earlier on Twitter, you kind of made this comment around just like, working as in an agency versus like in-house. Right.
Yes.
And in agency, things move super fast, and there's a lot of opinions. I mean, this is just, I worked in freelance for a little bit, so I had some of that. So, but I think like when you're working in-house, you kind of live with your decisions long term. It's not like a handoff, right? And so I think understanding that you have time and, you can potentially see this type of transformation and growth over time. I think that's one of the motivating things. It's like, you're cultivating this, right?
Yes. I've never had the luxury of working in-house, and I imagine somewhere as big as LinkedIn, you do have that kind of luxury of time, and you have that resource behind you so that you've got the space and time to grow your kind of career and your skills, but you've also got the chance to do that for your team. So I've always been kind of jealous of people who work in-house because they just seem to be so relaxed and, at the moment we're working on this big problem, but it's fine.
And it's so funny because, I think there's this misnomer of just like in-house. It's like, oh, you're chilling all day. It's not the case. I think pace is all like relative. And I would probably say the pace is a little bit different because, LinkedIn is almost closer to 20 years old, right? And so you've got a lot of legacy stuff. You have a lot of larger teams. But I think one of the cool benefits of this is like, we have so many teams working on different problems. We have a ton of knowledge. We have a ton of research that we can actually tap into. So it's sort of like
exciting.
It's like you walk in this huge library, and it's interesting where, our teams, there might be teams working on a project a couple years ago that may not have necessarily seen the light of day. And that's due to just timing and all that kind of stuff. Right. But it's amazing when like, you're like, okay, now we've got the resources ready to kind of approach and attack this problem. We can actually tap on older research and just like, continue it. So I think there's a lot to that that's really interesting from a data perspective, obviously from a qualitative and quantitative approach. And then obviously, we have a bit of the brand name, so it's a little bit easier for us to kind of get some research participants every once in a while.
Amazing. And I suppose, the very juicy question I've been meaning to ask is what is the sort of biggest problem that LinkedIn's trying to solve at the moment? I mean, we're all going through this remote work, right? And I know you're familiar with this. I know, in-person events, like, I think it's really interesting. Like when you think about how much of the travel, and we talk about the travel industry, but then you're like, oh, well, hotels. And then why do people travel and go to hotels? Because they're trying to go to conventions and they're trying to network. And so the concept of networking and meeting people, right? I think a lot of people think about LinkedIn from a jobs perspective, which, that's a huge component to it. But we're seeing a lot of people share content and I think there's a lot of value in that. Given just sort of like the professional kind of vibe of LinkedIn. But, LinkedIn is a huge marketplace when it comes to sales and closing deals and, being able to sell your product or service. And so a lot of folks are going to LinkedIn, trying to go online and sell their events. And, salespeople can't go and meet people anymore. And
even you as a buyer, you're not just going to have a lot of those organic interactions like you do, right? That you otherwise would have. So these are industry-wide things that we're seeing across the board. I think LinkedIn happens to be in a place where online, that's where a lot of people go to, right? And so there's a lot of exciting challenges there. There's a lot of exciting research going down. I think there's just a lot of energy to be able to try to solve this problem.
It's interesting because I hope you don't mind me saying, it's from my perspective and the chats I've had with people over the years when social media was becoming, this big thing. Obviously, I think people kind of were on LinkedIn as a necessity, and it wasn't seen as a very kind of friendly platform. It wasn't like where you went to sort of chat to other creatives. It was just this place where you had like your CV online, and maybe you'd get headhunted by someone, and it was a kind of like LinkedIn. And what's happened over the last 10 years is that everybody's kind of started to move away or dislike Twitter more. I mean, Twitter used to be the kind of place to go for networking and building relationships. And Facebook, well, we won't go there. And Instagram as well is starting to sort of, there's research to say that it's, causing anxiety, mental health issues, and all the rest of it. I won't go into all of that. This is just purely anecdotal and what I'm trying to say is I think LinkedIn in that sort of time frame has become the most accessible and the most friendly. And I think because it's linked with work and not personal, it's a social media that we can naturally switch off from, and we don't tend to really go on it in the evenings or at weekends. It's a social media that we can manage, that we don't get anxiety from, and is really super helpful for making connections. So it's really interesting to see how the perspectives change. Would you say that's kind of true?
Yeah, I mean, again, this is pure sort of anecdotal from my perspective. I don't have any of the data on me right now, but just from like building a design team at my last company, like at base, when I moved to California, no one knew who we were really, unless you were really in the sales. And so one of the big challenges for us was to get our brand name out as a design organization and, recruit and attract designers. And I think it was a very special time for me because I actually had to kind of build that pipeline, and I interviewed a lot of folks. And one of the things that was just fascinating is I was using LinkedIn Recruiter a lot of the times, and I would look up designers, but like designers weren't putting like their information on LinkedIn. So I go to their LinkedIn profile and I couldn't find their portfolio. They might link me to like a Behance, or they might link me to a Dribbble. And so I think there's like there's a few things like that have kind of changed over time, right? And so I think for one, and I think COVID accelerated this, but I think for one, more designers started doing case studies. So that was a big thing. So I wasn't just looking at images. And I think somewhere in that, people were like, oh, I'm not really sharing much on LinkedIn. Maybe I can share a link to my case studies, right? And like there started to be a lot more formats, for people to interact with, like around video, around slides, sharing better, rich experiences when it comes to clicking through links on LinkedIn. And that's one thing that I started to see. But then it all also accelerated with COVID, because you had a lot of folks that were like, hey, I don't have a job. And then there was like, I think it was like Amazing Design People list. They had this huge like PowerPoint list of just like designers that got laid off. And that eventually turned into a whole movement of just designers connecting with each other.
Amazing.
And the confluence of all that was on LinkedIn, right? And so it's interesting where sort of like the networking, the design kind of community is really starting to, I think, exponentially grow on LinkedIn. There's definitely a lot of other back channel conversations that happen on Twitter, which I think makes sense for the type of platform that it's on. So
sure.
I personally love to kind of see where it's at, because I think for a while, it was almost like the access to information were in these silos, and it felt almost kind of like gatekeeping, to be honest with you. And so I just love how it's been able to democratize a lot of these conversations. and really kind of, identify some of the things in the industry that need a lot of work.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, and it's become more friendly, I feel, as well. I think LinkedIn has always been kind of very career focused anyway, so it's always had that sort of professional feel. I think somebody would be a little bit more reluctant to put something on that they might share on Twitter, ironically, even though it's in the same public realm, than they would on LinkedIn, because on LinkedIn it has that feeling that, you're putting something out there in front of potential employers or clients. And yeah, you're right. The other great thing about LinkedIn is the feeling of community there. There's this supportiveness that used to exist on Twitter and still does in small pockets. Yeah. But it feels that you're kind of not as protected on Twitter, that if you shared your portfolio or a new case study, you might have it attacked. And have a lot of negativity, whether you're one of the largest design agencies in the world or a freelance designer working from your bedroom. But on LinkedIn, there's people going, "Oh my goodness, that's great! This is wonderful! Oh, I should put you in touch with so and so." Yeah, it just feels such a nicer space to be in. And I've noticed as well that it's not suffered yet the same algorithms as other platforms, in that when you put something out there, you do get it in front of a lot of people naturally without having to pay for it. Yeah. I suppose that comes from LinkedIn's strength in being able to make a lot of money elsewhere.
Well, one of the things that I always like to tell people, the way that I kind of think of it, it's like on a lot of these platforms, you're sharing a lot of your content and you're not getting much back from it. But I will say, if you think about the fact that if you share content and a recruiter notices it and you get a job, that can be life-changing. There's value in that. And there's way more long-term value that you get out of LinkedIn, potentially get out of LinkedIn, than on any other platform, in my opinion.
Yeah. Do you have like a darts board in the LinkedIn office with, all the founders of all the other kind of social media platforms? So you just, take out.
No.
Of course you don't. I'm being very silly.
And we're not in an office right now. We're all working from home.
Gosh, are you really?
Yeah.
Just going back to remote working, I have a few friends from California. I'm very well traveled and worldly. And they tell me how San Francisco's changed enormously over the last 10, 20 years. Mm-hmm. But it's sped up recently with everything that's happened with the pandemic. Yeah. The Bay Area is transformed. People are leaving in droves. There's lots of other reasons why they're leaving. It might be the accelerator for those people. I imagine it's a bit like in the UK, we have London, we have lots of other lovely hubs, but London is our kind of our capital city. And there comes a point when people move out and they go and live elsewhere for whatever reason. But it's really, really changing over there. And I do wonder are the days over when you wanted to work in Silicon Valley? You had to sort of go and live there. Are those days over, or do you think things will return to normal?
Yeah, I mean that's really a hard question. I'm not an economist.
You're not a soothsayer. You haven't got the vision of the future in front of you.
No, I don't. I think in general, throughout history we've seen kind of trends of people leave cities, go to suburbs, and go back to cities.
It's cyclical, isn't it? People come, people go.
Yeah, it's pretty cyclical. I will say, yes, the real estate prices out here are crazy. However, rents at an all-time low. And I do think like we will see some change in terms of opportunities, right? Like I don't think you're going to see the whole industry go fully remote where you can work from anywhere. But there definitely will be a large number of companies that do, right? Like, why would you want to have that overhead of having an office or brick and mortar? Yeah. And so I think also too, there's this realization in terms of, I think it's different for different industries, but I think specifically for tech, I think there's this realization that you can actually still be functional. And, I don't want to harp on the concept of, human resources and being more efficient in terms of the work that you're doing.
Yeah.
But people are probably, unfortunately, working a lot more, right? Because you don't have those water cooler breaks. You don't sit down for lunch. You know, you don't go for a walk outside in the office. Like, you literally roll out of bed,
Yes.
go into your office, and, you know, I even think of like, back-to-back meetings. Like, I don't even have time. Like, if I was in an office, at least I have to get up and walk to a room.
Yes.
I have to just click a button. So I think in terms of the mental, like, I think we should probably confront more or less the mental effects of working from home for a long period of time. And I think that's sort of the caveat of kind of working remotely that we still need to kind of understand.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's just literally changed overnight, hasn't it? And
yeah,
we're all just still adjusting.
I can remember, like, we had a team outing and we got an email that was like, you're not coming back to the office. And that was it.
Good grief. When was that? What was that, back in March?
I'm trying to think of the exact date, and I don't know why this date sticks in my head. I think it was like March 16th.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Gosh, I can't actually remember when we went into lockdown, but when our Prime Minister announced it on the television, we just kind of looked at each other and were like, what the hell? We thought this was just a little thing in China that, you know, was obviously, you know, a bad thing. But we never thought it would come over here. It's just the human condition, isn't it? Oh, that's not our problem yet. You know?
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, talking about technology, I think saved me this year and made sure that I was moving, because I think you're right. You roll out of bed, you go to your computer and you just sit there and you forget to move. And now I've got one of these naggy things. I haven't got it on at the moment because I haven't figured out yet how to keep it quiet. One of the fitness watches, fitness with the, you know, I can mention them. They're Apple. And it just keeps nagging me to stand up.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
Yeah. I mean,
how dare he?
It's so funny because mine nags me to stand up, and I stand up for like 1 second. It's like, good job. They're like, that's all I needed to do all day.
Have you got the same thing? Have you got Apple as well?
Oh, yes, of course.
Oh, nice. That's a nice strap. You see, I'm new to all this. I'm completely new.
Yeah,
completely new.
So this is, I wish I was getting, like, you know, hashtag influencer. I wish I was getting, I wish I was getting the link that you can click on and get the money back. But it's a Nomad strap. So if you go to Nomad, they have like a lot of accessories. So if you want it, like the wireless charger to put in your car, or, you know, you want a leather strap or you want a stainless steel strap, they make pretty high grade stuff. I think it looks good. So
amazing. Thank you for the tip.
Yeah. So I'm going to go a little bit into a personal story about Apple Watch.
Oh, okay.
And just fitness watches in general. So the past like year and a half, I've actually gone through some pretty major health kind of episodes.
Oh gosh.
So back in 2019, I was having these chest pains, and I thought it was heartburn. I was like, whoa, this is what it means to be an adult. Wow, this heartburn is really getting to me. And so
oh my goodness.
I had like this cabinet full of just like antacids.
Oh yes, yeah, we have those. Gosh.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Oh yeah, I'm okay now. But essentially, like, over time, I started to actually get more and more of these chest pains. And eventually I went into the doctor, and it was a really interesting experience, because they were like, you know, have you felt anything weird over time? And the thing that was interesting, I could like look at my heart rate over the past, like, you know, 6 months. Right. And it actually helped a lot in terms of that discovery process. So,
oh, wow.
You know, I think, and now, you know, my hospital, because I'm in the Bay Area, but now my hospital, all of my health records and my check-ins actually sync to my Apple Health. And so all of that stuff is feeding in. And even when I'm doing like my workouts and all those types of things, I can start to kind of see this data. So there is something really empowering about understanding and being able to access those types of things. Obviously, there's far more education, and doctors probably know more than I do. but I think it is empowering to understand some of these, the vitals in your body and what's happening.
Yeah, definitely.
And so, I think there's obviously another aspect to it in terms of privacy and owning it, which I think there is still a lot of trust that needs to be done there.
Oh gosh, if the internet was a person, it would be like a terrible twos, wouldn't it? We've got so much growing up to do with the internet, but please continue.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm glad that wearables are maturing beyond steps, because steps are not a great indicator of how healthy you are.
Yeah, exactly. I'm learning this. But so you were okay? There was nothing wrong with your heart, or?
So yes, I ended up actually getting a surgery, and so I actually had a stent. And here's the thing that was really weird about it. It was like,
oh my goodness, you're so young.
Yeah, so I'm young. I was working out 6 days a week. No, like very low cholesterol. So it was very, very, very strange. And very
scary, I imagine.
Yeah. So basically, we've been kind of trying to figure out what the heck's been going on. And so here's another bomb. But basically I was diagnosed with a very rare blood cancer. It is the heart attack actually ended up being a symptom. So I actually had a blood clot.
Oh my goodness.
And so, I actually find a lot of resolute in that. I mean, it's not a terminal illness. I think I'm going through some treatment right now, which I will likely have to do the rest of my life. But again, just to kind of relate it back to it, I think the fact that every time I go in, I see all my blood vitals, I see my heart rate, I'm seeing my sleep. The fact that I can see all of that, if there's anything that ever happens, I can just talk to a doctor and pull this up. I don't have to go through all these crazy systems and remember that password.
Yeah.
Or then call another hospital to get my health records sent over.
Yes.
And so that's kind of my story, right? And I think there's something very beneficial. I think there's a lot of potential to it in terms of empowering, because not everyone, not everyone has the same quality care of healthcare.
Not in America, no.
And I think for me, for me, I think what kind of freaked me out, you hear about these athletes that, they're super healthy, and in a snap, they just collapse and die. So, I think that's kind of been, at least having that savvy around technology, that's kind of what's been really very important for me to just kind of have access to this at any time.
I suppose it makes you feel like you're in control of your own destiny as well. And it's just that reassuring, well, oh, bless. So that's amazing that you're stood there and you're just laughing and smiling and really positive, and you look so well.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Look, I mean, it's not, I don't want to, mitigate kind of the heaviness that, there are other people that are going through this, or any other type of cancer, or,
but it's your own perspective, isn't it? And
it is. And, look, it was very, very tough. And, I think there were a lot of preconceived notions, right, where people kind of jump to conclusions about my health, and I can see it. And I'm like, no, I know exactly what's going on. And so that reduces a lot of the anxiety, a lot of the frustration, and a lot of the fear that I had, at least getting to this point.
We're now taking a little break to get a creative piece of advice from Marcia Decker, an artist, designer and musician originally from Arizona and now based in New York. She's also a lecturer for Shillington at its campus in the Big Apple. Of course, Shillington is our sponsor for Season 2 of the Creative Boom podcast, so I thought, what better way to gain some helpful tips from the very people who work for the original graphic design bootcamp. I asked Marcia what advice was shared to you that proved extremely helpful in your career. Who was it and what did they say?
I would say my best piece of advice that I ever got was actually from one of my previous mentors. she really helped me get my footing when I first arrived in New York. And we kept in contact with one another, even after I started progressing in my career. And I just really hit a wall. I was in this job where it really wasn't aligned with my personal beliefs. And I just kind of felt, this sounds really dramatic, but I felt like my soul kind of dying a little bit. And I was really questioning if I should even be a designer and what am I doing? And I actually think that that experience is quite common with other designers as well. I've had this conversation a few times. And I was speaking to it with my mentor, and she said, you know, you need to take stock in what's really important to you. And if it actually means that you go and take a job that's just like bussing tables or something, that's actually better than being in a similar kind of field, but feeling stuck and feeling unfulfilled. And that actually really encouraged me to kind of snap out of it and think about where I actually wanted to be. And I ended up switching roles like shortly thereafter and pursued more of like a social good nonprofit avenue for design work, and felt completely reinvigorated about where I was in my life, and, you know, seeing how design fit more with that kind of viewpoint and that kind of environment really just changed things for me. So as corny as it sounds, it was actually really, really good advice to make sure that you're really where you belong and that you're doing what you believe in.
To find out more about studying graphic design in as little as 3 months online or at one of Shillington's 6 campuses around the world, visit shillingtoneducation.com. Now, back to Harrison. So let's talk about what it was like growing up in the Midwest.
Yeah.
You were you born in Iowa City?
No, I went to college in Iowa. People always think I'm not from Iowa.
All right, okay, I'm sorry.
No, I'm from a state next to Iowa called Wisconsin.
Okay, so I apologize.
It's all good.
I need to do my research. I'm still rusty after Christmas, and
no, it's all good. People out here are like, "Are you going back to the East Coast?" I'm like, Wisconsin is not on the East Coast.
I've been to America quite a few times, and now and again you'll meet someone and they'll say, "Oh, you're from England. Oh, do you know John?" You know, it's the old joke, isn't it? Because we are tiny.
Do you know David Beckham?
No, but I know somebody who does.
Ah, okay.
We're a small island. You know, we're all connected in some way.
It's like the Caribbean, the island that I always want to vacation on.
My sister-in-law, Sarah, her cousin is Rick Astley. He is a British singer over here. He's a legend. I suggest after this podcast, you go on YouTube and you look up Rick Astley.
Okay.
Particularly his number one hit, "Never Gonna Give You Up." So there you go. That's my claim to fame.
Wow. That's the Rickroll, right? He's a legend. Are you Rickrolling me right now? Like what is this a real story?
Do you actually know Rick Astley?
This is like an
Never
internet
gonna give
trend.
you up, never gonna let you down.
Have you never seen the meme?
No, never.
Are you messing with me, right? I don't know if you're messing with me.
I'm not actually messing. I don't know what you're going on about.
Oh my God. You need to look up Rickroll, please. Okay.
Rickroll. Okay, I'm writing this down. Okay, so Nomad for watch straps.
So if you're listening to this episode, you need to at Katie and be like, "You've never heard of Rickrolling before?"
No, I'm not
before
cool
this episode?
and young like you.
My gosh.
You are talking to somebody who's sort of related to Rick.
Wow.
And I'm going to like cringe when I look this up afterwards and think, oh my goodness, how did I not know what that was?
Yes.
You're just nodding. Okay. So you you grew up in Milwaukee.
Yeah,
and
I did.
And you kind of went on to, you did then later go and study graphic design. Well, it was arts, wasn't it? With a kind of focus on graphic design.
Yeah.
And you graduated from the University of Iowa in 2009, which is when I started Creative Boom, actually.
Oh.
Yes, I'm old. So yeah, were your family creative? Were you kind of, how did you sort of start on this path to where you are now? That's what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah. So my middle brother, I have three brothers. I'm the youngest. So shout out to Eric and Kenny.
Hi, Eric and Kenny.
So Eric my brothers influenced me in two different ways. So my middle brother, Eric, was an amazing artist. So I grew up watching him, and my brother, like, they're 8-9 years older than me.
Oh, right. That's quite a gap.
Yeah. So my brother was like drawing, his art was going to like New York, and he really wanted to be an architect. And so his fascination with that, I just really kind of latched onto that piece. And then my oldest brother, he was an amazing athlete. And so I used to go to the track meets and watch him run and play football and all this kind of stuff, even in college. So that was kind of that sort of influence for me kind of growing up in terms of my interests. Now, it's a real interesting story that I like to share because my mom worked in the school system, and my dad was a pastor. And when I was about like 12, over one summer, someone broke into our house and stole all of our shit. Like it was a very like traumatic experience because
it's awful.
Yeah. It was like for the first time, like I'd really seen, I don't know if you've ever had anyone steal from you, but it does, like, it creates a different type of rage, and anger.
You want vengeance, don't you?
Yeah. And I think my brothers, like, I just remember them being just very, like, kind of dumbfounded. Like, why would somebody ever do this to us, And I didn't understand it. Obviously, I was too young, or I was very young. I didn't understand it. The actual situation that had happened. However, right after that, I always say, it takes a village, right? And so my dad's office donated a computer. It was this old, like, computer that had Windows 5.1 on it.
Oh my goodness me.
And then
Don't swear.
I know. I still remember those boot up days. And then my mom's coworker actually happened to be a computer technician. He was like, anything that you want on this computer, let me know.
Oh, awesome.
So I remember this back in the day. I was like opening up all these magazines, like computer PC magazines. And it was like, I remember this in my head, right? It was like Sound Blaster and NVIDIA and then a 56K modem. And I was like, I want those. And so I got those installed on the computer. So I was on the internet like in 96 or something like that. And I started to code and learn how to do GeoCities websites. And it was before CSS was a thing. And when that came out, I had to learn it. And so
I have to quickly tell you, my husband's a software developer. So yeah. You're talking to the converted, preaching to the converted.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Yeah. So my mom was actually my first employer.
Oh.
And I was the webmaster for the school that she worked at.
Fantastic.
And so, like over time, I went to school at Iowa, like you mentioned. So I went to school for graphic design. And so that was where I was able to merge that coding with the design. And then my first like experience making money, I was freelancing. I was like, yo, there's something to this, It
can be very lucrative.
Yeah. It was, for me, it was like really a discovery process. And, my experience at Iowa was amazing because if there was any sort of idea, like you could kind of go for it and there would be people that were so down with it. And so, then I was like, okay, how can I apply this to the different types of things? So I was in a student organization. I was in Black Student Union. I rebranded that. And then I was in student government. I actually ran for student government. So I designed my whole campaign.
Brilliant.
It was amazing. And then, I started, I worked. Did
you win?
I came in second. I came in second, but you know what? Damn. We had the flyest shit, like
If only you'd had CSS.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It was amazing. Like I was working in like the marketing department in school for all 4 years. And, you know, and then after that, like I basically did a lot of freelancing. I started a promotion company, again, just kind of merging design and technology with that. And all of a sudden there was like this fork in the road where like design or web design turned into like front end development and engineering.
Yes. Yeah.
And I was like, yo, this escalated real quick.
It really did.
And like, I remember being on a call at this tech company and they were like, yeah, you need to do an algorithm test. And I'm like, what? And so, my buddy Josh, who was also a former athlete, he was actually in my same dorm room. He'd been nagging me for a few years to like move to Chicago to work at this startup company. And
where was this? Was this? I'm just looking at my notes.
That was Base. That was Base, which was
fab.
Yeah. So, So like, it's so funny when you talk about like Creative Boom and when you started it, like UX wasn't really a thing.
No,
you know, I think like when I graduated, I was like, I'm going to work at an agency, you know, like that was it. And so,
do you remember the lovely WordPress templates and things like that?
I was a WordPress man. I could have built you a custom WordPress website.
Well, where were you when I needed you?
Man. Yeah, you were sleeping on me. Like it's so funny.
I had Tom. It's all right.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I just nag him to do it, and I get it for free. Now and again, I'll buy him I'll buy him something from Apple, and it keeps him happy.
Yeah, you're gonna be like, "There's a bug," and he's like, "Oh."
Yes, I know. He's like, I have to give him a list now. We have a Trello board. I have to just put it on there. And when he's got some energy, he'll just do a bit of development work on Creative Boom.
Yeah, I think Creative Boom is a beautiful website, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's gone through a lot of changes. We've made a lot of mistakes. And for a long, long time of that, it was just a sort of little hobby, a side thing. But now I'm doing it full time, which is awesome.
Yeah. So now you've got 10,000 podcast downloads. You have like, I think I read 30,000 something. Like I saw the number.
100,000 listens, apparently.
Oh, 100,000.
100,000 listens. You know, if we're going to get competitive with our podcasts, Harrison, we've got to get it right.
You're way ahead of me.
Yeah, but I've had, 12 years head start, haven't I? And also started this site during a time when you could very easily organically grow followers and communities. And I was just literally in the right place at the right time. And even then, back then, I thought I was 3 years too late.
Yeah.
There's that joke, isn't there, in our industry? Well, about 3 or 4 years too late. Should have done this 5 years ago. But anyway, it's
like Bitcoin.
Oh my goodness. My brother, he texted last night on the family group on WhatsApp. He said, my 200 quid is now worth £3,000. And he's like, damn it, why didn't I put more money in? And I'm like, I wish I'd listened to him.
Here we go. You should have been like, well, with Creative Boom, they said I should have started it.
It's always in hindsight, isn't it? I think we just have to grab on with both hands to the blessings that have been thrown our way and, and are 100%. Yet to surface, I suppose.
Yeah, no. And look, that's kind of, back to the story. That's kind of like, to be honest with you, that's kind of how it is, right? Because, I tell you, this company that I was talking to you about that was asking me about algorithms, it was Google, right? They're in the Bay Area.
Come on. Come on. That is like a big deal.
Well,
to get an interview at Google.
I don't know how they found me, but hey, I'll take it. You know what I mean? And so it's really funny because I'm going to draw this back. I'm going to draw everything back to you, by the way. You're going to be like, what? And so... Is
this like kind of really good episode of Sherlock?
Maybe.
Okay. All right.
And so, so I moved to Chicago and I knew nothing about kind of like you. I knew how to design things. I've been doing these types of things for a long time, right? It's just, I didn't know the proper vernacular, if you will.
It wasn't defined, was it, back then?
It wasn't defined. We were still working in Photoshop and all that kind of stuff. And so, when Sketch came around, when InVision came around, I think that improved our efficiency so we could focus on the problems at hand. And it was an amazing it was an amazing experience, actually, because the development team is actually located in Poland. And so a lot of the remote working international type things that I'm doing now are the things that I really had to learn the hard way back then.
Yeah.
And so it was nice to kind of be a bit ahead of that, looking back. But, we got a huge round of funding. We moved to Palo Alto. And then I basically built the team up to about like 5 designers on product and one on marketing. And, it's always funny. So there's a few things that I talked about earlier in the story that were just kind of mind boggling to me. So just kind of reflecting on that journey, the street that I lived on in San Jose was right down the street from Creative Labs, which is where I got the sound card from, like when I read that magazine. And one time we were at a happy hour when I was at Base, and that exact recruiter from Google was sitting across the table talking to her colleagues. I don't think she remembered who I was, but I was just like, oh my God. It was just like so crazy. And so, I think like my experience at the startup company was amazing, but I really wanted to grow a lot more and have a lot more support from a management perspective, because at the startup, I was actually working directly with the CEO. Amazing experience because he was very design driven. And the team was moving fast. And, we had, at this time, we were working on enterprise software, and we were one of the first companies out there to really have a consumer experience for that. And so, I think being able to kind of bring a lot of that expertise and that knowledge into LinkedIn, and also think about it at scale. I mean, LinkedIn has almost 800 million members. It's about 18 years old. I manage around 7 designers between New York and San Francisco, but that doesn't matter anymore because we're all remote.
Yeah, definitely.
And so, it's been a fun story, and I'm still learning. And, I cherish the challenges that we have, and I understand the privilege that we have as an organization. They help us out a lot during sort of the remote work piece. And I'm super thankful to kind of be in the organization that I am. So, that's the story.
Gosh. So, I mean, like, it's a completely different kettle of fish, isn't it? Working for a startup. So I can understand that at some point you'd go, okay, I need to sort of go and enjoy something else and enjoy a different pace. And so what would you say is your approach to management then?
Yeah. So that's a really great question.
Thank you.
So, I think on the learning piece, and one of the things that I really try to work with my team with, it was actually the big moment for me was when I actually got some executive coaching.
Okay.
And I think one of the things that I really kind of take away from that is being able to ask the right questions. Majority of the problems that you face in life, majority of the big decisions that need to be made in your life, majority of conflicts that you may have in your life can usually be dealt with a conversation, right?
Yes,
and
100%.
It's all about having the right tools to have those conversations. And so I think if you can really kind of break down those walls, you develop a better connection, with your colleagues, with your directs, even with your clients. And so I've always tried to really kind of approach my work with empathy again and service, and then also empowerment, because ultimately my directs, they are in full control of their career and their development. And I'm there to help support them and help them learn and grow and provide them with the tools to help them get there. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. I will say if you talk to people at Base versus the people at LinkedIn, they can probably tell you, like, I was probably a different manager back then because I had no idea what I was doing. But you
would have had a lot of pressure on your shoulders there and a lot to do in a day and probably didn't have the luxury of time to manage as you do now, I suppose.
Well, it's actually not that, right? It's sort of like, your husband probably knows this. Like if you think about coding, right? If you've never seen a bug before, you might spend, a couple weeks trying to figure it out. The next time you see it, you'll squash it in, it might not be perfect. You might squash it in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then the time after that, you'll be like, I'm not even going to make that decision because I know what it leads to.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how I would relate it. It's like, I think being able to identify problems, to identify opportunities a lot quicker allows us to actually focus on things that bring value, right? It's not necessarily a time or pressure thing.
Yeah.
It's more like unlocking new opportunity, right?
Yeah.
And so I think all of that, like when we start, you hear all this conversation around like innovation and blah, blah, blah. Like I think there are very few moments in our history where somebody comes up with something that's just like, oh my gosh, this is mind blowing, right? But I do believe innovation is an opportunity that happens over a series of events, but you'll never get there if you're bogged down in the details, right?
Yeah.
And so unlocking these types of conversations, getting the team to think collectively, being able to empower people from different backgrounds to be able to contribute is what leads to innovation. And so I'm glad that I can have a part in being able to facilitate that.
That's fantastic. And is LinkedIn a diverse place to work? Is it somewhere that you feel comfortable?
Yeah. So look, I mean, in terms of just like Silicon Valley in diversity numbers, there's a lot of work to do everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
I will say, I do think it is a place where I have been able to express my voice and be able to talk to my colleagues about this. Right. And I think to me, I think that to me is a privilege, right? The fact that I can actually talk to my colleagues in a professional manner about the problems and challenges that we still have work to do, and that I can actually help provide some perspective, right? So that's how I'll answer that. It is a pretty diverse company relative to the status quo, but there's still a lot of work to do.
Do you feel more comfortable talking about these things now after the events of last year than ever before, or?
Yeah, that is dude, you're asking some really amazing questions. So
sorry.
no, it's great. So here's kind of how I would maybe kind of frame this. I think, I will say the events that happened last year are they're not anything new.
No,
gosh, no. I wrote an article like last year about this where, I can remember numerous occasions where, we'd see, Black folks die at the hands of police, and I walk into a room and no one says anything about it. And it's a very, very isolating experience. And then additionally, I think in terms of the issues around diversity, that's nothing new. I mean,
No.
I went to Iowa. I think if you look at the industry, there's still a lot of these challenges. And so I think for me, it was looking back, I took a lot of time to really reflect, because I think there is, with everything that we have going on, we just kind of react to it. We'll have a visceral reaction. We'll have an emotional reaction. But then what we tend to do, which isn't healthy, we'll start doing a bunch of stuff on top of it just to forget about it. Yeah. Right. And I think this was probably one of the only times I feel where everyone had to look at, everyone had to look at this, right? Because there wasn't sports on TV. There wasn't, poker tournaments, that, there wasn't all this stuff to distract it. There weren't really any soccer match or football matches in England. Yeah. And so everyone had to just look at it. And
it didn't matter what color we were. We were having conversations we'd never had before. Exactly.
And so I think for me, I think before it was, oh man, I don't want to make anybody feel comfortable. Right.
Yeah, it's that, isn't it? It's like if there was, you don't.
Yeah, you don't. But then for me, I'm like, I'm always uncomfortable.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, we need to bring this up, because I can't be in a situation where we just don't talk about it. And, I think for me, it's been more clarity. And my advice for people that want to talk about these types of things is that even if it is uncomfortable, you should talk about it, because it's just like practice. you might not be perfect on the first go. You might not be so eloquent in terms of what comes out of, your mouth. However, your experience is your experience, and you should not discredit other people's experiences. And you just never know. Even if you are uncomfortable for the first time, just understand that you're going to inspire somebody else to be able to speak up the next time something happens. Right.
Exactly.
And so I think that's kind of, for me, has been that sort of piece looking into the past year. And I think having an opportunity to be on different platforms, if I can talk to more people about these types of things, I'm going to do it. Right. Because it is something that has plagued our society for too long. And it is not this is not a natural way of how things should be.
Nobody should feel like they are fearful for their lives just going about their daily business.
Yeah, exactly.
Based on the color of their skin.
And they shouldn't be denied opportunities either, right?
Exactly. It's 2021.
Yeah, exactly.
And do you feel like there is change happening? I mean, we're over in the UK, so we can't really, I know this podcast is going to come out, I think early Feb, although my husband, Tom, said, just get it launched, just go for it. But when this launches, I mean, the events of Capitol Hill, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
We were just sort of sat watching it late at night because it was all unfolding before we were going to bed. And we were like, what is going on? It's absolutely crazy. There's just so much polarization.
Yeah.
And so much change happening. And a lot of people are afraid of change, I suppose.
So here's kind of what I like to kind of point out around that, right? It's not surprising, at least as a Black man in America, that's not surprising to me that there are people that feel empowered and emboldened to go to the Capitol and not face really any repercussions and also be coddled by the President of the United States by saying you're great people and special. I think that discredits a lot of the hard work that, marginalized folks across the country, Black and brown people in your metropolitan cities like Milwaukee, Detroit, Pittsburgh, Atlanta, that have single-handedly favored the election results in Biden's favor, right? And that work should be commended. People have dedicated their whole life to making change in this country, only for people having a tantrum based on unfounded fact to make a mockery out of all of it. And I don't want any of the listeners to forget about that. There are people putting in a lot of work that truly believe in the potential of this country and the change that we can make. And what was on display should not happen, and it should never happen again. And it should be condemned, and it should be condemned, in America. It should be condemned globally. And I think an example needs to be made, at least out of the president and the people that have enabled that.
Yeah. Oh, it's difficult times. I guess we were hoping everything would calm down by now, but that kind of weird thing that we do. We get to the end of a year, Christmas happens. We think, it's a fresh start.
No. Yeah. It's so funny. It's like, we still have to go through this terrible, uncomfortable therapy session. It just doesn't end on January 1st.
It really doesn't. But how else have you coped this year? Because the pandemic has been overwhelming,
Yeah.
All the kind of change that's happening with the way we work, worrying about our loved ones, worrying about catching this thing ourselves, and you've had the extra burden of having this operation on your heart. And gosh, I mean, how do you stay sane? How do you keep smiling, Harrison? I want to know your secrets.
Well, I took a month off of work, so that helps.
There it is.
Yeah.
That's great. That's unusual for America.
Yeah. Again, I think a part of it is kind of linked in having a culture that does believe in, the well-being of their employees. So that's one piece. I actually just bought a house in the Bay Area, so I'm a bit closer to a lot of really great trails. So I've been doing that. My girlfriend's been cooking some amazing meals. We've been watching more than our fair share of like Netflix and
oh yeah.
HBO.
Have you been
and the like.
watching anything in particular that you've really enjoyed, or?
I don't think I can say I've enjoyed something in a long time on Netflix.
It's hard, isn't it? It's really hard. Like we've started reading books in the evening,
Yeah.
The only thing that's missing is our slippers and a pipe, and one of those clocks that's like ticking loudly,
I feel like the rocking chair is the next thing. Yeah. Like by the time this is all over, I'm going to have a very long beard. It's going to be gray. And I'm going to be reading bedtime stories to my cat.
Oh, you've got a cat. You're a cat person as well. You see, I knew there was something about you. That there was this extra layer of
Was that a grimace on your face? I think
No, that's me smiling.
Oh, okay. All right.
No, I love cats. I'm obsessed with them. What's his or her name?
Her name is Luna.
Luna.
And she is a very big bone cat. People try to say she's fat. I'm like, no, she is a big bone cat.
Oh my goodness. So you're not treating her?
I'm not treating her. No, this cat is the most bougie cat ever. Like my parents live outside of St. Louis. And so usually when I go back, I'm back for a long bit of time. And so I'll take her. And so she gets to sit in her carrier. I'm like, Luna, your one-way ticket costs more than one for a human.
Does she sort of just look at you and go, bothered? She's a sassy cat, or is she?
She's a sassy. Well, yeah, she gets what she wants, and when she gets it, she just does her own thing. And I'm like, okay, all right.
Love it. So what big lessons did you learn from 2020, aside from all of the kind of heavy stuff that we all sort of went through? What are you taking with you into this year really positively, and what do you hope will come out of it all?
Yeah, so I think mental health is definitely top of mind. I think there's going to be lasting effects of all of this. I think it's been 2020 was a very traumatizing year. Even outside of before COVID, I mean, we lost like Kobe. that was huge. Like we lost Kobe Bryant, like he died.
I know.
And, he's such an icon in that regard. And so it was just kind of hit after hit. I don't think any person went untouched. And so, and then we're also living in these confined spaces, and we're living with partners for an extended period of time and working, and there's so many stresses. So I think, mental health first and foremost, I think is at least one of the things that I want to do, and being able to just kind of take more time off, having more time to reflect, because I think in a sense, everything that was happening that I told you about, and speaking up around the events of George Floyd's death and what happened after that, it was a bit cathartic to actually let a lot of the feelings that I had out for a long time.
Yeah.
I think another piece is connecting with people more. I had this very uncanny valley moment when I was on a Zoom call, and I'd been working with somebody for 6 months, and I never met them in person. And I think as a manager, we talk about planning and all these types of things. Because we physically don't see people, it's actually hard to really kind of see what their condition looks like. Mm. Right. And so we need to find ways to be a bit more empathetic with this sort of, the separation, or these Zoom calls.
These dreaded video calls.
Exactly. And then at least more on the design front, I'll leave number 3 to design front. I think there's a lot more work that we can start to do, like thinking about ethics, accessibility, and inclusivity. I think we're at the early stages of those conversations, but just understand, like, it doesn't need to be a special team. We should be thinking about this in forms of like the way that we build our teams, how our teams are structured. Even when we're thinking about design systems and how we can scale that. So hopefully those are 3 things that's
amazing.
Great.
I am seeing a lot of positivity going on in the world. There seems to be a huge appetite for us to drive forward and improve ourselves and improve the world. So I'm taking that, I'm grabbing that sentiment with both hands, and really super positive about the next 12 months.
Yeah, same.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Harrison.
Yeah, thank you, Katie. It was an awesome time. We had a very wide-ranging discussion.
Thank you. Take care of yourself and please stay in touch. I'll be getting you, sending you messages and asking for some more tips with the Apple Watch.
Okay, sounds good.
Take care.
All right, look forward to them. Bye.
This is the Creative Boom Podcast with your host, Katie Cowan. Thanks to our sponsor, Shillington, the original graphic design bootcamp that has helped students achieve award-winning portfolios and land incredible jobs in as little as 3 months. To find out more, go to shillingtoneducation.com. To listen or subscribe to the Creative Boom podcast, visit creativeboom.com/podcast. If you're enjoying our show, reviews are always welcome. See you next time when I'll be joined by graphic prop designer Annie Atkins.